Hey guys, so this is a third installment in this series, and I'm talking a bit about why it felt like things were broken, and I'm going to dissect a little bit of what happened. So, I want to start though by saying that 2 months ago I had posted a pretext to this series, and I was planning to make this video series a couple months ago, and then I didn't make it, and there's a few reasons why, and the highlight reason why is because, to be honest, Joe and I still have days where we are learning how to be co-parent, like not co-parents, but we are learning how to be parents together. We have different perspectives on how to do things, and we're still learning how to be in a like have a successful relationship after having a baby because it takes time to relearn, and it's a whole process in and of itself. So I want to thank you for your patience. I know some people were kind of wondering why I hadn't made the series yet, and it's here now. So thank you for your patience. The second thing is that generally when I make videos, my strategy is I take notes about what I want to say, and then I just go for it, and I refer to my notes if I need to. But with this video series, I'm finding that I need my notes as more of a crutch, and I feel like I need to read a little bit more of what I've said verbatim because, to be honest, this is a really difficult topic to talk about, and I still feel like this topic is a bit raw, but I feel like it's worth putting out there because in this community and in life, people don't talk about this. We don't talk about how a relationship feels like it's failing at moments after you've had a baby, and I think it's a problem that we don't talk about it because otherwise we don't know. So thank you for your patience in me putting this video series up. Thank you for your patience if at times I need to read what I've written in order to say it because otherwise I'm going to go off topic. So thank you. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to discuss a few things. I'm going to discuss why it feels like things were broken, and I'm going to attribute it to a change in priorities, an intense environment where you're learning to be parents, individual changes, the me instinct, and then kind of how all these factors come together. And it ends in a positive way, which is nice. I always like that. So let's get let's get down to a raw level. In total straight-faced honesty, in the couple months after we had Sam, I had moments where I feared that I had made a mistake, and I would not say that to anybody I knew. And I've never even verbalized the thought until now. Um, but I feared that we had made a mistake as a couple in having a baby because um, we had such a strong relationship, and then it changed so much, and I was afraid that that meant that we shouldn't have had a baby. And now I know in retrospect that um, those feelings are probably normal. I assume that they're normal. Secondly, to be totally straight-faced honest again, I feared that I made a mistake in choosing Joe as a partner, which, whoa. And now I am certain that I did not make a mistake at all. Um, and I really have to clarify that because it's a huge statement. And the reason I had feared that I'd made mistakes is just because it felt like our relationship had changed so much that I was in a relationship with a different person. And now I know that it's just that survival mode. The degree to which it affected our relationship was so huge. And let's talk about why. Why did that happen? Let's break it down. Firstly, big change in priorities. As a life, I think that you need to prioritize yourself first, and then your partner, and then the world. And pre baby, Joe and I had that priority sequence, and it worked great. And post baby, all of a sudden Sam was the top of the line. He's number one. And then, like we discussed in survival mode, your own basic needs. You're working on so little sleep, so little food, so little everything for the first little while, and then your partner is having the same experience, and so your priorities having changed, you can't meet each other's needs, and you are not able to be that best friend that you could be. And I already discussed that a lot in the survival mode video, so you can learn more about it there if you're interested. Secondly, the post baby time, when you first have baby, it's an intense environment because if you've been in school recently, maybe right now you're a student or you've taken classes in the past or you remember high school, when you're learning a difficult subject, it is an intense environment and your brain is 100% occupied with the task at hand. And when you first have a baby, that experience is parallel, except it's like 24/7. It's like to me at least, it maybe not for you, but for me, it felt like learning how to be a parent was a 24/7 job. And there's so many individual tasks to learn, but and you need to learn them quickly. Like changing a diaper as an individual task is not difficult, but you want to do it efficiently because then you don't have to clean up poop afterwards. But then that task alone isn't hard, but you go, okay, I'm learning to change a diaper, I'm learning to breastfeed, I'm learning that a baby needs help to go to sleep, which I didn't know. I'm learning about what baby sleep habits are. I'm trying to frantically read baby books I received. And then you're learning how to function on low sleep. You're learning how to choke down your frustration when your partner isn't meeting your needs. And then you're learning a bunch of other things about having a baby that I can enumerate them, but basically like dressing a baby, putting a baby in a car seat, um, swallowing a baby. I could go on and on, but you don't want me to make a long video, and I don't want to make too long a video either. So, suffice to say, it's kind of intense when you're taking 100 parenting 101 classes all at once, 24 hours a day. It's intense. Third, see how anxious I am even just talking about it? Wow. Third, individual changes. Before you had a baby, you were the glowing pregnant woman who is bearing life and aren't you special and precious? And then after you have the baby, now you're just like the pudgier, you're a mom, you are um a parenting with somebody, like your roles have changed. Like as a friend, you're not able to be as good of a friend. As a coworker, you're not as able to be as good as a coworker. It's like all of your roles have just rejigged, and you're kind of figuring out how to resettle into all your roles again. The me instinct. Okay, and this is where you really have to have watched the video about survival mode or having gone through this to understand. But once you go into survival mode, I have a theory about this. I think that you go into the most natural version of yourself when you're in survival mode. It's almost like dialing back to when you were like 10 years old and you're just your purest form of yourself. I'm going to use myself as an example because I know myself best. So for myself, I'm an extroverted thinker. So what I mean by that is I need to talk about things to understand what is happening. So if say if I witnessed a car accident, I would not fully process the event until I talked about it with someone. And in talking it out with someone, I start to understand better what happened. That's a contrast to how Joe processes. If Joe witnessed a car accident, he probably would just internalize the event and think it through in his own mind, and then he would have processed it. And so if you take those modes of being, you go into survival mode, and I go into the most natural version of myself, and Joe goes into the most natural version of his self. Well, suddenly, where we could bridge the gap, and Joe would let me talk things out because he knows it helps me, and I would let him process individually because I know that that helps him. All of a sudden, he's retreated to not wanting to talk at all, and I'm needing to talk a lot to understand what's going on. And think about that. It's not the best fit. So when you and your partner go into the most natural versions of yourself, all of a sudden, all those skills you have learned, A, through socialization growing up since you were a child, and B, to bridge the differences in your personality, those skills have been completely stripped when you were in survival mode and acting as the most natural version of yourself. How does the collection of these factors affect your relationship? So I've discussed the change in priorities, how it's an intense environment. You've had individual changes after having a baby, and each of you and your partner have gone to the most natural versions of yourself. So how do those factors affect your relationship? So in your natural version, your differences are way more emphasized. The more differences you have, the more obvious it's going to be. And so now you don't have enough time for yourself and you miss your fun relationship and you don't have enough time to give to your partner. But at the same time that that's happening, your individual needs from your partner and from your relationship are so much higher. And that's happening to both of you. Yeah. In summary, um, all your priorities have shifted, everyone's needs are higher, and your capabilities to help yourself and one another are reduced. So you and your partner become your most natural selves, and your all of your differences are like front and center. And so for us, we feel like we each seem more irritable, and it was like interacting with a different person, and that's because all those differences were brought to the forefront. And please tell me if that happened to you. I want to know, even in a private message or something, because that's what happened to us, and I don't know if it's normal, but it's got to be normal. So I into this. It's no wonder that even the strongest of relationships will feel the weight of baby survival mode in those first couple of weeks. And if you add sleep deprivation, poor nutrition because you're not eating as much, you're not showering as often, you're feeling like you're in a constant study mode, maybe you're having postpartum depression, you're having a change of identity, and any other issues in the mix, maybe poor family finances, someone's passed away, or there's other drama going on in your life, all of these things create the perfect storm for conflict in your relationship. And if you've had a baby, I'm sure you can relate. And if you haven't, at this point, you're probably feeling pretty stressed and like, oh my God, I do not want to have a baby. But either way, I don't want you to despair. I wanted to end this video on a positive note. And um, the good thing is, I'm going to make a fourth part of this that talks about some general strategies on getting through this time. And the more exciting thing for me is I have created a video series that I'm going to call Marriage Mondays, in which I discuss one strategy and one idea in a less than 3 minute video to help improve your relationship. And I'm hoping that people will contribute. In the 9 months since Joe and I have had a baby, I feel like we have progressively gotten better and better and better at having a baby, being parents together, being in a relationship. And I can confidently say that I feel like our relationship now is stronger than it ever has been. We've just reached this whole nother level. And if you have the same philosophy in life that I do, that you kind of need to have the lows in order to appreciate the highs in life, then having a baby has been like not all like having Sam has been wonderful, but as far as a relationship goes, it's marked a clear low, and now it's just getting like so much more enjoyable. Um, yes, thank you for watching this part, and if you hung out to the end, stay tuned for the good things coming.